What's up, Andrew? I don't
What's up?
actually. I don't. I'm actually, I think I'm a pretty healthy girl. I don't have any, I'm pretty fortunate. I don't have any mental illness to speak of. I don't have any trauma to speak of. Very limited baggage.
Well, look, can I qualify to you why I asked the question?
Of
Because I know
course,
that
yeah.
it seems a little off, right?
Absolutely.
Especially for somebody who promotes the virtue of chastity in society.
Of course.
The reason that I promote, though, the virtue of chastity in society is because it's a virtue. If somebody is angling for the virtuous end, I think that that end is good, right? So they're angling for it for virtue. But that does not appear to actually be what you're doing. It appears that it has nothing to do with virtue. You just don't find men to be particularly attractive, and so you don't sleep with them, right?
That's fair. I think it's also both. I mean, I'm not religious, so I don't know if I would personally use the word virtue, but I do understand what you're saying. I think for me, it's yes, I don't experience attraction, but even if I did, I still think it's so important to be intentional about who you share your body with. I think it's important to be intentional about everything, honestly. Again, who you surround yourself with. So I'm
Yeah,
just
but you have no higher reason that you're appealing to for that. It's just like kind of an innate set of preferences that you have.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I wonder if these aren't just post hoc justifications for the fact that you're just not particularly attracted to men. And so you kind of justify these things by saying, well, I think that it's important. The reason that I'm not is because of X, Y, Z. It's like a justification for, for this factor. Now, I'm not beating up on you. I'm just genuinely curious because it's rare that you run into a secularist who is a virgin because, of course, generally speaking, people pursue that because it's some kind of virtue. So I'm just wondering, since it's not a virtue, is this just a post hoc justification for, well, I'm just kind of like a social weirdo, right?
I understand what you're saying.
Does that make sense?
Even if I was attracted to men at the same rate as, other girls, I think I would still be just very selective with who I share my body with. I do think that's important. So, no, I don't think it's just a post hoc argument that I'm trying to make, but I respect your opinion.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to beat you up. I'm actually just trying to kind of understand the worldview because there doesn't seem to be anything higher you're angling towards for this, right? So it's not in and of itself virtuous that you're pursuing the retention of your virginity because that's not why you're pursuing it, but rather because you just don't have any interest in having sex with men, essentially, is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Is that about correct?
No, that is correct. I mean, what would you
Okay.
say, like for you, what would you say is your position as far as the virtue is concerned, so that I can understand where you're coming from?
Well, so generally, especially in modernity, a good sign of female virtue is the intact chastity. And so, especially because that's under assault constantly, you'll note that women will often lose their virginity and then go and tell their friends they should do the same thing, right? It's like once the thing is gone, they almost want to kind of lead a train of women to also lose that virtue as well. And so I think that often from the religious angle, there's kind of a higher value here of chastity if I'm holding out for the right person because I'm pursuing the virtue of what it is to be chaste. But this is a different thing altogether. This is not, I'm holding out for the virtue of the thing or because I have some command that I'm following which is higher than me, but rather I just don't like, I'm just not attracted to men, so I don't want to have sex with them, right? So it just seems like it's a totally different kind of angle that I'm not used to hearing. So I wanted to kind of dive into it a little bit.
Yeah, of course. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I would say for
So
me,
I found it peculiar, right? And I'm going to bring this up too, because I found it peculiar that there was an article run on this. And I think that if it had been a Christian woman who had kept her chastity intact, no such article would have been written, that nobody would have given a shit. But because you're coming at it from a secular angle, I think that they were more curious about it. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm curious about it, right?
yeah, totally. I understand. I feel like I am kind of in a league of my own with this one. I know it is a bit. Usually, it's one or the other. You're either very traditional and saving yourself for a husband, and I think that's great, or it's you're.
Yeah, but why do you think that's great?
I think it's great. Well, so for me, I mean, I think it's great again to be intentional who you share your body with, and I think it's great to.
But I mean, isn't a prostitute intentional about who she's sharing her body with?